What's up, you guys? Tyler from ASAP Fitness. In this video today, I'm gonna go over a quick overhead squat warm-up that you could try out if you struggle with snatches, overhead squats, any overhead carry, or any overhead movement. So all these warm-ups I come up with are all the things that I do myself because I deal with rounded shoulder issue, bad mobility issue. When I first started, I was horrible, so I had to go through trial and error on what are the best things that was beneficial for me to get better for each position. So it actually makes it a little bit easier for me to shoot these videos, just because I have to do these warm-ups and these cool downs and these stretches for myself to get better. This is one that I've tested out for the past couple weeks, and I've seen a lot of benefits from it, so I want to share it with you guys. So a lot of times when someone says they can't do a snatch or overhead stuff, they think it's their shoulders, which could be the problem, but it's not the only limiting factor on overhead positioning. Most of the time it might be your, or it's most likely going to be your thoracic spine, tight pecs, which is going to pull your shoulders forward, which is going to give you that rounded shoulder position. And for in this position 9% throughout the day, over time it becomes that much harder to get out of this position. So this is a good warm-up for not only when you do overhead squats, but you can do it daily to kind of help with your posture. So eventually, once we get to that overhead squat workout, you don't have to just hammer it hard to get mobile and hit the right positions. So what this warm-up or this routine helps with is it's going to help with rounded shoulders. So if you ever catch yourself sitting down a lot and your shoulders are kind of rounded, or one good test you could have if you stand straight up, normal good posture, or as good posture as possible, and your thumbs are pointed in, that means your shoulders are rounded forward. You want to have your thumbs forward as you're relaxed standing. So rounded shoulders is definitely one thing. Kyphosis, so a tight midline or a thoracic spine, which is going to make it almost impossible to get into a good overhead position. For the example, I drew this up for you guys. So this one has a rounded thoracic spine. It has a perfect shoulder mobility, but the hands can only get just in front of their face when they try to go overhead, just because they're limited by their back. But if you have your back nice and straight, nice and flat, and you get the hands above your shoulders, it's gonna be overhead. Okay, so just because you have bad overhead mobility, it doesn't mean that your shoulders are too tight. It could be your thoracic spine also. It's going to help with shoulder pain, because if you are in that constant rounded shoulder position, or your thoracic spine is not able to get full extension, you're just damaging your shoulder joint because it's putting all that stress on that one spot. So it's going to help with shoulder pain, and then overhead positioning. So you should be able to get down into your overhead squat position and feel comfortable enough to hang out there for at least 30 seconds to a minute and feel fine. So if you don't, it's going to help with that. It's also going to help with imbalances. So a lot of times these issues are caused by tight pecs. It's caused by lower traps being weaker than your upper traps. So you constantly have your shoulders up and rounded forward, which kind of gets your neck forward and hyperextending your neck also, which causes a lot of neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain, because eventually it goes all the way down to your lower back, which gives you that anterior pelvic tilt, which is going to mess you up and get you all types of problems. So it's going to help with those imbalances of tight pecs, which I build to strengthen your lower traps, so you help sit your shoulders back and down, so you're in better position. So we're not in a bad position 9% of the day and only in a good position for 10% of the day. We want to be the opposite, in a good position for 90% of the day, and we always have those 10% of times where we're just in a bad position. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the warm-up right now and go over the key points and go over each of the movements and how long you should be doing them. All right, guys, so the first thing we'll go over is open up our thoracic spine. So it's a quick stretch that you can do. If you have a stick or a PVC pipe or a bar that's just the length of your overhead squat position or your snatch grip, that'd be perfect. But if you don't have one, that's okay. You just have to have your hands flat on the ground and really try to press into the ground with the opposite hand. Okay, so what it's going to look like, you're going to start with your chest on the ground. You're going to get your hands out in front. You want to get into your overhead squat position, a hand position that's wide enough that it would be the same. And then from there, you're just going to try to keep you both feet on the ground, but rotate one hand behind as far as you can. trying to get extension in your upper back. You're gonna hold it for 5 breaths. So you wanna take a deep breath in, exhale 5 times before switching sides. And then we'll go three sets each side. So you're gonna breathe 5 times, hold it in that one spot for 5 breaths, rotate over, do 5 breaths on the other side. You can do that 3 sets. Okay, so that's the first stretch for upper back. The next thing that we'll go into is our external rotation of our shoulders and our pecs. The next 2 stretches that we have are for our pecs and our external rotation of our shoulder. So the first one that we're gonna do, you wanna try to position your elbow just outside your shoulder, so horizontal to the ground. You put your elbow into the rack, but you wanna try to rotate your hand as far back as possible. Okay, so it's gonna look like this, elbow to the rack, hand back as far as you can, external rotating. And then from here, you're just gonna try to push that shoulder that's on the rack or that side and try to rotate it away from the rack as much as possible, pushing it forward. So it's gonna stretch the front of your chest. Really try to pull your hand back as you're doing this stretch. And we're gonna hold it for 1 minute each side. So once you hit the right side, then you do the same with the left side. So you wanna try to get your elbow to the rack, rotate your hand back, turn, try to press forward, rotate your hand back, hold it for a minute, okay? So you're gonna go a minute each side for that next stretch. Then the next one's gonna work on your pec minor, working on overhead positioning. What you wanna do, you wanna try to pin your shoulder back with the rack, okay? And then from there, with your shoulder back and down, you're gonna try to reach your hand up as high as you can without letting your shoulder come forward, okay? So it's gonna look like this. Push your shoulder back, hand behind the rack. Then from here, you're just gonna try to press your hand above your head. You're gonna start feeling a good stretch in your chest. You're gonna hold it for 2 to 3 seconds, come back down. Okay, we'll go for 10 reps, as slow as possible till you feel a good stretch. Hold it for 2 to 3 seconds, come back down. You're gonna do 10 reps each side. So you're gonna do 10 on the right, then we'll switch, pin your shoulder back, hands behind the rack, try to push your hand above your head, hold it for a couple seconds, come back down. We'll do that for 10 reps on that side. All right, guys, so the last 2 movements that we have for this warm-up, and I recommend doing each thing twice. So once you go through one cycle, cycle through it again for extra added benefits. And if you do have trouble with bad posture around the shoulders, this is something you can do every single day. So it's not only for when you do overhead squats, it's something that we gotta constantly work on to eventually get to the point that we're constantly in that 9% good position, not only in that 10% good position. Okay, so the next one we're trying to work on is external rotation of our shoulder, plus working on the strength of our lower traps. So this is not meant to be going fast, or you're not doing it for max reps and trying to go as fast as possible. Try to do each rep as slow as you can, like it's its own set, and we're gonna try to go for like 20 sets. Okay, so what it's gonna look like, you wanna grab the band about shoulder width apart. You're gonna start with your thumbs up or in, and then from here, you're just gonna try to pull the band apart. As you pull it apart, you're gonna try to external rotate by turning your thumbs out to the side. Okay, and then come back in, do it again. Try to really squeeze your lower traps, and then come back in. Okay, so make sure as you pull out, your thumbs are going rotating out, and then back in. Okay, as you come back forward. Okay, as slow as you can. You want to try to really hold that in position, really try to external rotate by getting your thumbs out, and then try to feel that tension in your lower traps. Hold it for 1 to 2 seconds each rep, and we'll go for 20 reps total. Okay, then the last one, you got to really focus on keeping your midline tight. You're going to start by grabbing the band about shoulder width apart. Have your hands out in front, so you don't want your shoulders back. You want to rotate your shoulders forward as far as you can. And then keep in the same position. You want to try to reach your hands above your head until you start to feel a good stretch in your mid-back. Once you feel that stretch in your mid-back, okay, we're gonna hold this position for 5 breaths. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and then try to get a little bit further back. Keeping your midline tight so you're not overextending your lower back. We're gonna hold it for 5 breaths, then we'll come back down, and then we're gonna reset, get your shoulders back forward, then reach up above your head again. Try not to overextend by sticking your butt back, but try to roll your hips forward as you go overhead. Feeling that stretch in your mid-back. So 5 breaths at the hold at the top, and we'll go for 3 reps total. And then that'll be the last movement that we have for this warm-up. Then we'll go back to the thoracic spine stretch. Then we'll go to the pec stretch. Then we'll come back to the band and do this one more time. Okay, so this is not something that you should just do when you feel like you were doing snatches and you want to work on your overhead squat mobility. It should be something that you try to do as often as possible, if not daily, until you start to feel yourself naturally having your shoulders back and down, and that overhead squat position feels comfortable and feels like you could hang out there for a while. Okay, so thank you for watching. Test this out. If you like it, leave a comment below or subscribe for more information. If you have any questions, please comment below, or you could come by one of our locations and we'll happily answer the question that you may have.